Hello and welcome. My name is Mary Van Dyke. I am the owner of Finding Grandpa. This series is called Building the Bridge Back to Ireland, using various websites to find documents that might show where in Ireland your ancestors are from and where to look once you get across the pond. This is part 7 in the series about Griffith's valuation found at Ask About Ireland. Before we begin, all the websites that I list are examples only, and they do not represent the full range of options at your fingertips. I use these websites often. I flip-flop back and forth between them because they all have different databases. Be aware that some of the free websites shown in the slides might change in the future and may have fees attached. Various surnames are used in the examples of the slideshow, and I don't want to confuse you, showing you an image of a record with the name of McDonald, and the very next image shows a different record with the name Riley or Kelly. The internet website I'm talking about specifically in this part of our series is AskAboutIreland.ie/Griffith-Valuation. When you type in that URL, this is where you're directed to. Now notice the family name search. There's a couple of different ways to search through this. Family name is a little tricky, but if you don't know the townland where your ancestors lived, this is the way to search. If I typed in the name Sweeney, Sweeeney, it will only show me the search results with spellings of that specific way. It does not have a sound X. So if I wanted to look also for Sweeny, I'd have to type in that name in a different search. However, if I typed in Sween and clicked Include Similar Names box, then all variations that have that string of letters, Sween, any name that has that string of letters in its name will pull up. Now, it won't do a sound X, say things that sound similar, but if the string of your spelling that you type in is included in multiple names, it will pull up all the results. Another example would be, I'm looking for McDonald. I don't know if it's MC Donald, MAC Donald, so I'm going to type in the word Donald. Click the Include Similar Names, and even names spelled Donaldson will pull up. Again, anytime the string of letters is found in their database, it will give you the results. We're going to go to place name search, so I can zoom in on the map and show you how to manipulate around the Ask About Ireland Griffith's valuation maps. Click place name search, and you could type in any county. You don't have to fill in any other information. Just type in any county and click the search button. In Longford County, there are 996 different townlands in the database. I want to get to the map. I don't really care about what everything is called. I'm going to go to the very first one on my list. The place name is called Agavaden. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of these townland names properly, so I'm apologizing once up front. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it properly. On the far right, under the Map Views column, I'm going to click the large magnifying glass, and it will open up the map view in a whole different window. And this is what I see when I click that button. Inside the red rectangle in the center of the screen is somewhere that little townland of Agavaden. The box directs you to an area on the map where you will find that place name. But I don't know where I am. I'm not oriented. I have no idea where I am on the map in Ireland. So what I'm going to do on the far left, I'm going to zoom out. Then in the upper right, I'm going to move the horizontal scroll bar. Now in the upper right, that horizontal scroll bar, if it's all the way to the right side, I will see the old map, the Griffith's valuation plat maps. If I scroll it all the way to the left, then I will see current Google view. This is an interactive map. So I want Google view scrolled all the way to the right and zoom out so I can figure out where I am on the island. Again, the large red box in the center was my initial map view. I want to go to the Gwinnard area. The reason I'm doing this is I'm tracking the townland of Agavaden. In part 3 in American Records, I discussed a Hugh O'Reilly who came to America and in his ship manifest said he was from Agavaden, and I know he was born in Longford County because of his naturalization record. So I Googled Agavaden in Longford County and I figured out where it was. Now I want to go to Griffith's Valuation maps so I could see what it looked like back in the 1800s. What I'm going to do right now is center Gwinnard on my screen and zoom back in so that I can get into the area of the Aganoran townland. That's in the triangle, roughly the triangle that you see right below the lakes. So when I zoomed in, now I'm still on Google Map in the upper right horizontal scroll bar, but I'm going to flip that all the way to the all the way to the right side. I want to see the old map. I want to see what it looked like in the 1800s. This is my image. I want to talk about the image itself for just a moment before I talk about Aganoran. Notice all of the red borders, all the red shaped, heavy red images. Those are different townlands. The heavy red writing is the borders of the different townlands in that area on the map. Now this particular image is roughly 10 or 11 miles tall and about 15 miles wide. And notice how many different townlands are in that one specific dimension. It's a lot of townlands. And this is one of the reasons why it's a little tricky to find our ancestors in records. Notice the white box, the white part of the map. There is one where Aganoran is. There's another one on the far left over by the zoom features. And there's another one here in the lower left area down in near the bottom of the map. These white sections are actually replacement maps. When Ask About Ireland scanned and digitized the old Griffith's Valuation maps to put online so that we could actually view them, and they had to pixelate them all. The maps that are in white were probably damaged in the old map book or missing in the old map books. I call it white versus red because the old Griffith's Valuations used red to indicate the borders as well as lots within each townland, and the white replacement maps, substitute maps, do not have those red annotations of the different lots. So it's a little tricky if we're working in a white map area. Now I'm going to zoom in on Aganoran. And earlier what I had done is zoomed way in on this map. I scrolled all around the whole area, and roughly Aganoran's border runs around the edge of the lake. It comes down southeast this direction, and it goes up to the lake again, and then it zooms around and across. So it's a rough shape of a Y. And I zoomed way in and scrolled all around. I'm looking for a Catholic church. I know Hugh O'Reilly was Catholic, and I want to know, if I lived in Aganoran in the 1800s, where would I go to church? I need to find the nearest Catholic church. It happens to be where that star is. It's not even inside the same townland. So I got to make a note. This is in the townland of Clunog, and you notice the RC Chapel annotation. Now this is pertinent because if I'm looking for baptism records or marriage records or on the whole family, the Rileys or O'Reillys, because it is spelled both ways sometimes in Ireland records, I need to pay attention that the nearest church that he lived in is in the townland of Clunog and possibly in the little village of Malinalada. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing those names properly. But I do need to pay attention. It's the nearest Catholic church. I got to pay attention to the spelling of that townland name when I'm hunting for church records. So I go back to the Oganoran spelling, how it is in Griffith's Valuation, and I make a notation of how it's spelled there. Again, it's not a Soundex searchable database. Back on the main page, I type in the place name of Oganoran in the county of Longford and click search. There is only one townland named Oganoran in Longford County, and I want to see who lives there. So I click the occupants button. It says there are 28 names listed. Now that doesn't mean 28 different names, because one person actually might have had the tenanting of a piece of property with his home on it, and he might have also tenanted another piece of property that was land only that he might have used for grazing or for farming. It just means that there's 28 different lots within the townland of Oganoran in the old Griffith's Valuation. And I want to see the valuation page. It gives me the details on all the specific lots in that townland. So under the original page column, I click the large page icon, and this is what I see. Now, I can't read it very well, so I'm going to scroll down to access at the bottom the zoom feature. And when I zoom in, I can actually read the writing for all the tenants that were listed in Oganoran. It's not necessarily just tenants, it could be landowners. Whoever was living on the lot when the assessors went through and valued the property. And Griffith's Valuation was valued, I believe, between 1847 and 1864. The assessors went wall to wall, top to bottom, across the whole island to value the land, to determine its taxable rate. They wanted to know what is the value of each and every lot so that they could say, okay, you owe us $5 in tax. The column on the far left has numbers that are lot numbers. Those numbers correspond to maps so that you can find those people, what lot number is those people lived on. The second column is the tenant, the person that was living on that piece of property at the time of valuation. The next column is the owner of the land. The next one describes the land, and it goes on to give dimensions as well as value of the property. Now I'm looking for anybody named O'Reilly or Riley in the townland, and there are 4 names listed here. The first one is Peter Riley, and he is listed for lots 13A and B. So I go back to the map, and it's a white map. There are no red annotations of lots 13A and B. You could see the actual properties are marked off, but they're not notated with red ink. So I'll never know where the Rileys lived in the townland of Oganoran, unless I go there with another website, and I'm going to show you that later, Ireland Reaching Out. Someone actually might know information about the Rileys who lived in Oganoran. Now, what your hope is when you do Griffith's Valuation searching is to find a map like this. This is a map of a Timon, where my great-great-great-grandfather Michael Cannon was tenanting property. Notice the heavy red borders. The heavy red ink is the perimeters, the borders of the townlands, and within that you will see the different lots are also marked off and numbered. And again, You want to find the corresponding lot number from the valuation page we were just looking at to a map that is written in red that has the corresponding numbers of the lots so that you can find your ancestors' property. Now that I see that Michael was tenanting lots 14A and 14B, I am going to go to Satellite View in the upper right corner, and I'm going to scroll the horizontal bar to the center so that I can have an overlay, half old map and half new Google map. That's what I want to see. So once I click that, this is the image. The black circles still indicate the lot numbers 14A and 14B. I still want to see the lot numbers as well as current roads so that when I go to Ireland, I can drive there and see what the land looks like. This is my whole goal, working through these maps. I want to know where it is and what it looks like today so that when I go to Ireland, I can see where my ancestors lived. Now, when I use this image, notice those two black circles. I'm going to go to Google Maps, google.com Maps. The two red circles are the corresponding properties at Google Maps. When I zoom in, those are the two circles. Now, if I click Street View, and I drag the little walking guy all the way over towards the road, if the road lights up in blue, then I know I can place him on the road and see what it looked like. That's my whole goal. I want to see an old building right at the edge of the property. I don't know if that house was still standing in the 1850s or if it was built in the late 1800s or early 1900s. I don't know, but I know what I'm looking for when I go to Ireland. That's an old home on the edge of the property where my ancestor lived. And this is the whole goal of working with Ask About Ireland and using the Griffith valuation maps. I want to find my ancestors in the valuation, and I want to compare it to current maps so that I can see what it's like before I even get to Ireland. The next part of our series, Part 8, is the first half of other internet websites that you can find Irish records at. We're going to talk about Ireland Reaching Out, Family Search, Ancestry, Prony.gov, Find My Past, Roots Ireland, and the National Archives. So please join us for Part 8 on the first half of websites that have Irish records. Thank you for watching.